Alright, so we're back at Seaworld Orlando for another beautiful day. We're also going to do some Universal after this park closes, since Universal is actually open till 9 tonight. Let's go see how the park is with their new policies. Right now, you have both vaccinations, you're fully vaccinated. You're not required to wear a mask anywhere in the park. It's a little bit different from Universal and Disney, where Disney still requires, even if you're fully vaccinated, to wear masks in the lines for rides and on the rides. But let's go see how the park is. We're going to try to do all major rides before the park closes, and then head over to Universal around 6 o'clock. Alright, so I am not fully vaccinated. I've only got my one dose, so I'm going to keep the mask on. Though it is more of an honor system, they're not going to ask everybody who's not wearing a mask if they are fully vaccinated or for a vaccination card. But I'm going to be honest, and I don't have mine. So I'm going to keep mine on until I get my full vaccination. Alright, so I'm walking by Manta, and it looks like well, the back half of the car is empty, so that means it's a walk-on. So let's go get Manta out of the way. That's kind of rare for this ride because it is in the front of the park. Though it is later in the day, so a lot of the crowds have dispersed from the front. And it's probably not late enough to where people are coming out of the park to leave just yet. That's probably going to start happening in the next 30 minutes or so, if I had to guess. Alright, so I just got off of Manta. It ended up being a one train wait because more people actually ended up getting in the line before I got in. So I only had to wait one train. Not too bad. Not a big flyer person. None of them except for Flying Dinosaur really, you know, I've latched onto. For me, I get very, very claustrophobic in them, and just hanging at the end when the trains are stacked, because flyers are very hard rides to run. They're just not efficient, which is why Cedar Point will never get a flyer. They're just not efficient enough. But yeah, you just stack in the brake run for a few minutes, and I start to feel like I lose circulation in my arm. I'm not a big fan of flyers, so Manta's always a one and done for me. But next up, we have Journey to Atlantis. Alright, so I just got off of Journey to Atlantis, and I got a little bit more wet than I anticipated. Usually in the back, I ride by myself. I get a Zen ride, but full boat gets a little bit more of a splash. Wasn't anything too wet. It wasn't above, like, where I say it's too wet. It was definitely just a little bit more wet than usual. And right next door to Journey to Atlantis is Kraken, the B&M Floorless Coaster. Currently posted a 5-minute wait, so let's go give it a try. So I just got off of Kraken, and I love that B&M Floorless. Like, that is probably my favorite B&M Floorless. Like, all the standard looping B&Ms in Florida are, like, way more intense than any other, like, looping B&M coaster. Like, Kraken's easily the most intense Floorless. Montu's probably the most intense invert I've been on. Hulk and Kumba are just stupidly intense. Like, they're way more intense than Wildfire at Silver Dollar City. Like, they're just all so good. Alright, so Infinity Falls is unfortunately closed today. So I think we're just going to ride Mako and then head over to Universal. I just did a back row ride on Mako, and that is still, right now, my favorite coaster in Florida. Nothing beats that 4 to 5 second sustained airtime hill in the beginning. And then the trim hill didn't hit today. Like, it was just going really well. Like, it should have hit because it's later in the day. It should be running fast enough. And it had a full train, so I don't know why it didn't hit. But it didn't. And it went really fast. But before we leave SeaWorld and head over to Universal, let's take a look over at the theater over here where they're putting up some decorations for Electric Ocean. I'm using my phone today, not my camera, so my zoom is really bad. But they are putting up stuff. And Sky Tower's parked halfway up the tower. One of the few times I've actually seen it actually out of the station area since COVID. And then Icebreaker over there. Hopefully we'll see an opening day soon once summer rolls around and they have a lot of staffing, a lot more staffing due to you know, college kids not being in college. So that should always help. I would assume it's going to open decently soon. Maybe not as soon as some would like it, but I think it's going to open within the next few months or so, if I had to guess. Alright, so let's go head over to Universal. Alright, so I've made it to Universal right at 6 o'clock for the free parking. Now it's time to go get some alcohol at Fat Tuesdays, then Hulk. It's time for Hulk. So the alcohol has been consumed. And you know what that means. Hulk time. Alright, it's time for Hulk. Oh, I need this ride so badly, like, y'all don't understand. I've never ridden this ride under the influence of alcohol. I also need Velocicoaster under the influence of alcohol too, because maybe I'll actually enjoy that ride then. But like, Hulk though. Hulk. Never mind, people are abusing single rider again. Screw that. I will come back. I will go ride something else first. Dude, that's ridiculous. No, I'm not waiting for that. You know I'm not happy when I go get my Hulk rides. But at least Forbidden Journey. That is, I actually like Forbidden Journey a little bit more, but like, I've never been on Forbidden Journey drunk, so like, I'm kind of excited for that. Also, like, isn't that like Disney version of Thanos? Why are they selling that Universal? Alcohol. I should say one thing I hate about Hogsmeade, like, it's always crowded. It's always busy. Like, everybody just wants to take pictures and get their butterbeer. And for me, I'm like, but there's no alcohol in it. Why would you get butterbeer? Cool, but it's not Forbidden Journey.
A face covering at all times, unless actively eating or drinking while stationary and clear of traveling guests.
We go the big brain way. The way that gives you no weight. Because what does it matter if you ride with somebody? You're literally like secluded the whole ride. So that was incredibly fun. That actually like reassured me that it is my #1 ride ever. Like, all hail drunk Forbidden Journey rides. Like, all hail.
Stay calm, buddy. Stay calm.
Alright, so I am sad. I had to sacrifice Hulk for Velocicoaster. I ended up running into Austin and all the others, so I was like, yeah, I kind of have to ride with them. I'd rather do Hulk, but Veloci's still fun. It's not my kind of ride. That was my 8th ride on it. My opinion's not really changed. I think I've put it up one coaster higher in terms of the Universal coasters because I had Gringotts ahead of it. But I think I actually now slightly prefer this over Gringotts. I haven't ridden Gringotts in a hot minute, so I'll have to go back and do that when I get a chance. But I enjoy the ride. It's definitely just it's not my style ride. It's very lax on the positives. Airtime, not very strong. It's got some decent pops, but nothing outrageous, kind of like Iron Rattler or Sky Rush, you would hope an Intamin would have. Overall, it's a fun ride. I enjoy it, and sadly, also sober now. The drunkenness worn off before I got on it, so we'll have to try again for drunk full rides. We'll have to try again for those drunk Velocicoaster rides eventually. But that will conclude it for tonight. Able to get on almost every B&M in Orlando. But I want to eventually do a challenge where I do every B&M in Florida, which is the 3 at Busch Gardens, the 3 at SeaWorld, and then the 1 at Universal all in one day. Maybe I'll do that next week. We'll see.